Coach, now that you've had some time to reflect and look at the film, what stood out to you as far as areas that probably work on going forward for the BC Lions here?
Awesome discipline. Just some, costly penalties. You look at the first half, we had 9 penalties, for 100 and some yards in the first half. So we got to clean up those things, and address them, make the adjustments and move forward.
How frustrating is it for you as a coach and the coaching staff, knowing that that's been a point of emphasis coming into the season, being disciplined, not committing penalties the way you did?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, I thought, early in the season, we did a good job of that. Last 2 weeks, too many penalties. It's a mixture of stuff. It's a mixture of, focus, technique, all those things. And then, at the end of it all, it's, decision making and making the right decisions.
Nathan Rhys had a strong performance. You talked about it after the game, but that last drive in particular, just want to get your thoughts on the words that you might have passed along to him or the message you might have given him going into that last drive, if anything.
Yeah, we always, we talk about those situations all the time. It's something we practice, all throughout training camp, things that we talk about daily, and just being able to, perform at your best when your best is required, and that's what you have to do to be efficient. And whenever we take the field, we feel like we can move the football and we can operate quickly. I think just the poise, the understanding of what needed to be done at that time, is great to see. You talk about it as a coach all the time, but to go out and put it to use on the field, and all the pieces around him also executing it well, it makes you pleased as a coach.
Can you walk us through that drive a little bit, the play calls, selections, what you were looking for, where you wanted to get, what you were thinking maybe when you saw Montreal kind of back off on that last play in particular, knowing you just needed a few yards?
Yeah, the focus is on us, right? And that's kind of where the focus is let's be efficient. Let's, go down the field, one play at a time, and just, execute, to our best of our ability, understanding, if we operate the way that we, know we can operate, there's plenty of time on the clock, right? And you look at that drive, you look at, what the guys did around Nate as well, just, executing their job and their assignments. That's what it comes down to, in those situations, you have to be perfect. Your waggles have to be perfect. You have to be snapping the ball on time. All those factors and details that you talk about as a coach, the guys executed, and you're really not, you're just trying to get the ball down the field and leave yourself some time.
Last one for me, that game, could have gone either way. Came right down to the last play. How important was it to get the win, to give yourself some momentum going forward here? Still early in the season, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We focus on, what it takes to, get a win at the end of the day. And then, we clean everything else up afterwards, and we stick to our process that way. So, important to get the win, absolutely. Important for us as coaches and players that, we still look at the things that we need to look at. But obviously, getting the win's the most important thing.
What does having a guy like Shawn White do for the group?
Confidence, professionalism, a pro that's been doing it for a long time at a very elite level. I think he the way that he shows up to work, the way that he approaches the game, he's one of the best to ever do it. And, it's not just what he does on the field, but just, the type of teammate he is too. So it shows a lot, about, what it takes to, do what he's done for a long time at this level.
What happened at the end, the post game, and do you think there's further sanctions coming out of it?
Yeah, we're still looking at some things. Right now it's in the league's hands. So we'll discuss with them. But unfortunate, that it happens, and that happened. But we're still looking at it right now.
Thanks, Buck.
Thanks, guys.